Just after Christmas in December of 2021, Boeing announced to great fanfare that they will soon be embarking on their future new midsize aircraft replacement in a digital factory in the metaverse utilizing immersive 3D engineering designs combined with robots that will communicate with each other, while $3,500 HoloLens Microsoft headsets will link mechanics around the world. Some of you may recall I did a video on the subject at the time. But also at the time I warned that this may be a bit of a misdirect by Boeing to deflect attention away from the series of ongoing defects plaguing the 787, the 777X, and the MAX 10. Well, last week, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun started walking back expectations that Boeing would actually produce the NMA replacement anytime soon. Now Boeing has revealed that they have no timeline in the near future mapped out for the production of a new mid-sized aircraft, saying they need to wait for the technology required to create this aircraft in the metaverse to actually be, well, invented. That's next on Maximus. Greetings everybody, Maximus here. I hope you're all doing well, wherever you may be all around this great big world of ours. Well, last week at an aviation industry business conference, Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun was asked if Boeing would be launching a new aircraft anytime soon. It's well known that Boeing has been teasing many narrow-body and wide-body designs over the years. And as the Air Insight Group points out, Boeing came close to pulling the trigger on their new NMA in 2018, but the unavailability of the correct engine design, along with their ongoing problems with the 787 and the 777X, which consumed all available resources at the time, prevented Boeing from building a new aircraft to compete with Airbus's state-of-the-art A321XLR. As I mentioned in the teaser, Boeing had announced in December of 2021 their grand plans to build their new airliner in the 3D metaverse. The problem is that technology is nowhere near ready for Boeing to create their new midsize aircraft. Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun referred to the metaverse engineering as a true digital friend that virtually builds it, virtually services it, and also where the service arm of the company can draw on original drawings. He said in the manufacturing facility you could test the throughput virtually. Calhoun said, I am bullish about it because we've already done it in a couple of our defense programs, and it is offering enormous advantages to us. He said it takes cycle time out of the assembly line, but it also takes a lot of learning. The number of tests you can run on the design and the performance of the airplane, the manufacturing and the service tails out enormous timelines out of that. But he said we have to develop and mature the tools. But we haven't yet. We practiced on several of our defense programs, some of which you see and some of which you don't. Calhoun said it will take at least a couple of years until it is mature enough to implement on our next airplane. When that happens, we will design the next airplane. Besides, we are confident about our program portfolio right now, so why would I rush it, he said. You know, I noticed a few news sites online took his quote of a couple of years and turned it into literally 2 years. But in my opinion, at least, there's no way this happens in a couple of years. Oh, and then there are those pesky engines. Boeing has said before it wants a new midsize aircraft to benefit from another leap in engine efficiency of around 15 to 20%. But Calhoun said that's not happening today. There are a lot of good ideas tossed around on the subject of sustainability and how to power the airplanes. But that timeline is way out there, he said, at least a decade from now. Like I said, do you see how fast that progressed from a couple of years to over a decade? I'm just saying. Calhoun said the incremental performance of new engines is narrow enough that you aren't going to bet a new airplane on that. Translation? Don't look for any new aircraft from Boeing for at least a decade, which most likely would actually be more like 15 to 20 years. Calhoun was also asked if he's worried about market share in Boeing's competition with Airbus, which is far ahead of Boeing. He agreed that it is true of the production rate of the narrow-body program, but not of the delivery rate, as Boeing is trying to get its inventory of some 240 earlier produced and reworked MAXs delivered and is producing 31 aircraft a month. So at this moment in time, Calhoun said of market share, it's less important. He said we've got to stay focused on getting the aircraft back in the sky incredibly well, one airplane at a time. If I jump to a market share discussion immediately and get to a rate of 50 per month next year, the whole system gets cramped down. The supply chain gets tested in a way that they can't perform. Stability goes down, so I'm not going to run a public campaign on production rates. What I do know," Calhoun interjected, "is that our product portfolio across the board competes incredibly well. In the wide-body market, when the 787 gets back," Calhoun said, "I believe we have a strong advantage. The 777X will find its own way into the market where it can be on its own. There's a big enough market to fill it. It's not a niche," he said. "Interest in the freighter version is also very high," Calhoun added. However, he did acknowledge that the certification of the 777X will take more time, as there is a different approach to certification in the wake of the MAX issues. And he said, "We try to incorporate all lessons in the Big Twin program as well." He said, "Things have changed, it's harder, it's tough, but in the end, it's good." He said, "We will get back, but I have to be patient, and Boeing has to be patient." Okay, so Dave Calhoun had a lot to say in that interview, and it's good that he was speaking frankly and giving realistic, unambiguous answers. But a lot of Boeing fans aren't going to be happy with this news because they've been longing for the 797 for decades now. But the truth is, it's going to be a while. Quite a while. But what I don't understand, and if you know, please let me know in the comments, but why is Boeing so bent on this 3D metaverse factory idea? Airbus seems to be pumping out planes just fine, so I don't really get that. But hey, what do I know? I just make videos, not airliners. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of Maximus Aviation. I always look forward to your comments, so be sure to let me know down below. Oh, and before we go, a quick coffee shout out to Dennis, Someone, and Patrick. Thank you for supporting the channel. And as always, if you'd like to help support the channel, the links are in the description. And on your way out, please consider subscribing if you think I've earned it, and don't forget to like, share, and ring the bell. And remember, leave the rubber on the runway and your troubles on the ground. And I will see you next time in the air. Yeah, this is Maximus.